Okay, 6 in the slow motion one, go to 81 black.
3, 2, 1, let go.
That's right, baby. It's the big show. Welcome to Super Beard Bowl, the show where you vote and then the patrons vote. And at the end, we make 8 episodes of monthly mayhem. The next public vote is live now on your community tab. But this month, it's Gerard Khalil in How Famous is Gerard? And it all starts right now. This month on Super Beard Bowl 5.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to yet another episode of... I hate the name of this show. It drives me crazy. Welcome to another episode of How Famous is Gerard? This is very exciting for multiple reasons. Obviously, each guest is so hype, but this is the first and probably the only guest I will have in person. You may recognize him what's the funniest thing anyone's ever said to you that's like, hey, you're that guy from Smosh, or what's the...
Yeah, I mean, I guess like some people just like know me as like the Smosh guy. They're like, oh, you look like and they're like, you're some
I've seen your face
Smosh?
before.
And they're like, yeah, Smosh, oh my god. So yeah, I guess just like, yeah, people calling me Smosh.
Yeah. Guys, it's Smosh.
It's Smosh.
It's just Smosh. It's Ian from Smosh. Ian,
it's the shorter Smosh boy.
You guys are both pretty tall, though. It's not...
what?
I mean, you're not tall. Like, you're not small, is what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah. I'm like insanely average height. I'm 5'8".
Oh, you're not the same height?
No, Anthony's like 5'11".
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I mean, we're nowhere near like Rhett and Link height.
Those guys are giants.
They're humongous.
I met them one time and I felt like I was talking to God.
Yeah.
I was like, oh God, they're so long.
Rhett is 6'7", I believe.
Oh God.
He's a freaking giant. So it makes Link look tiny, but Link is, I think, like, he might be like 6'1".
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know why I'm talking about
No, this is great. So this is I'm gonna speedrun Mega Man X.
Great.
Have you ever played this game before? You ever seen this game before?
Okay, so I know like I'm gonna lose some cred here. I've never played a Mega Man game.
It's okay.
My parents didn't really allow video games in the household.
Sure.
So I didn't grow up with like platformers. Like I did play Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in Time.
That's one of the best ones.
At my friend's house.
Yeah.
That was pretty sick. And I guess I played like the Simpsons arcade game.
Those are both great games made with the same teams.
Really?
Yeah, both by Konami, both in the same engine. Simpsons arcade, TMNT.
Yeah,
they're great.
Yeah, so I didn't even get into like playing video games. I mean, I went over to my Mormon friend's house after school to play Ocarina of Time, and I would go over his house, and I did kind of like use him for. I mean, like he was also my friend, but I definitely used our friendship to play Legend of Zelda.
Yeah,
and beat it. But yeah, I wasn't really around for the sort of like golden age of platformers, and I just never got good at them.
Hold on a second. First of all, how are you doing today? How's the drive down? Hopefully not too bad.
No, it wasn't too bad. You know, you have to play traffic strategically in LA. So you were like, let's do this thing. I'm like, great. 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
Because I figured, you know, you have to leave after the morning rush.
Yeah.
And I gotta get back to the other side of town
before like 3. Yeah.
Well, it's like more like 2:30 or something.
Yeah.
Like
it's funny when you ask the time, that's exactly when we record. So I was like, oh yes, like
great.
It didn't, you literally were like, hey, is this time okay? And I was like, it was the time I was going to propose. So you knew exactly when we were going to shoot. So it was great.
So is this fast? Is this playing the game fast?
I don't know, man.
Are you using any like cheats?
No, I'm playing it vanilla. So Mega Man X specifically, what we're playing right now, this is kind of like the follow-up from the NES to the Super Nintendo version of Mega Man. So on the NES, it was Mega Man 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then when it got to Super Nintendo, it became Mega Man X, which is supposed to be like...
And it sounds way cooler.
It is way cooler. And well, the idea is that like Mega Man doesn't really have like the ability to think and feel on his own like an android.
Okay.
Mega Man X, however, does. And so he's kind of the first robot in society that can think and feel.
Oh.
And he was made in the past and then like unearthed in the future kind of vibes.
Oh.
And then they took the technology from Mega Man to kind of build androids without like understanding what makes him so special. And so by doing that, now robots like go maverick, as they say, and like based off of his technology and like basically just want to take over the world and stuff. So essentially what we're doing is like we're hunting down former colleagues and friends who are terrorizing the people.
Got it, because they don't have humanity.
Essentially, or rather they're, I guess, yeah, humanity or empathy, like that kind of humanistic vibe. But
Right, but our Mega Man does.
yes, and so he has to like kind of come to grips with the terms of like, oh, I'm killing my own brethren. What does this mean for me and my people?
Oh. Does he ever wrestle with that at the end of the game?
Oh
Like-
yes, not this game, not so much, because I mean a little bit, but
Like, does he look at all the photos of his fallen comrades?
kind of. In Mega Man X4, he has like a montage where he like remembers all the cutscenes from the game and just like, I killed all these people. What does that mean for me? Am I a monster? So this is Vile. He's one of the villains of the game.
Okay.
But
great
anyways, the game's not important. You know the gist of it.
name. Oh, okay.
There's Mega Man X. There's Zero about to come in. Zero's like his friend.
Zero's like cool.
Yeah, Zero.
Clearly.
So the lore of Zero is like Mega Man was made by Dr. Light. Mega Man X was made by Dr. Light. Zero was made by Dr. Wily, the villain from the original Mega Man.
Oh.
And
but then
so-
did he turn like good?
Kind of. So a lot of the reason why all the enemies are going Maverick is because he had a virus that spread to all the robots.
COVID.
So exactly. So Zero's now a good guy, but like
All right.
in the context of this game, we don't really know. It's more like we have to stop Sigma, the guy on the right. He was
Yeah.
like the former good guy, now bad guy.
Oh. Okay. There's a lot of side switching going on.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of twists.
Yeah, so here's our level A. Anyways, the audience at home has seen you play this game so many times on this channel.
Okay.
So I want to talk to you about you and what you're
Oh.
doing.
All right.
But if you have questions, feel free.
Okay.
Feel free.
yeah.
So
Chill Penguin.
yeah, dude. All of the enemies are like in Mega Man, they're like Snake Man or Cloud Man or whatever. In X, they're like robot element or robot plus element or animal plus element.
Got
So
it.
Chill Penguin, Flame
He
Mammoth.
just like me for real.
So recently you bought back Smosh.
Yeah. Yeah.
For people who don't know,
Yeah.
what's the TLDR for you and your journey with Smosh? I guess not the TLDR. Obviously, that's why you're here. But
Sure.
what's your journey been like the last several years, coming to this moment today?
Yeah, so I guess I'll take it all the way back. So I started Smosh with my best friend Anthony 17 and a half years ago, as just a way to like have fun and make silly videos. And we were probably one of the first channels to like kind of turn our YouTube thing into like a career. And so we did that for 6 years and kind of realized that like doing everything ourselves was unsustainable. And we partnered with this company and actually sold Smosh to them for equity in their company
So they sold you. They bought you guys out.
Yeah.
In stock.
in stock.
Pure stock, or they also gave you cash as well.
It's
There's a lot of talk about
complicated, but yeah, there was a little bit of cash, but
Mostly stock.
we had a partner that we had to buy out,
Yeah.
and they like demanded all the cash in order for the deal to go through.
I see.
So yeah, Anthony and I didn't see any cash in that deal. Anyway, the company was called Defy Media. Some people might have heard of them before, but essentially, like we were owned and operated. They owned and operated Smosh. And they were really helpful for a lot of things, like allowing us to grow the company and work on all the back end stuff. At that point, we had a website back when websites were a thing. And they were really helpful with that kind of stuff. Then, over time, they started adding on more and more projects that we were to do. And I think, it wasn't always stuff that that we were like super duper passionate about, but it was always kind of sold as like, well, like the more that you do, the like more valuable Smosh will be, and the more you'll get out of it, and blah 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 blah.
It's like, with your theoretical dollars that you don't have,
right?
The more you do, the more valuable the stock that they gave you was impressionable to make money.
Yeah. Because the thought is like, oh, one day, Defy Media might sell to like, let's just say like a Warner Media or something.
Yeah, right.
And I mean, like, people can look at it now and be like, oh, that was like stupid. But I don't know, man.
Hindsight's 2020, though,
Maker
man.
sold to Disney for half a billion. With like, if they were successful, it would have been 1.5 billion.
And the fact that like they didn't even get close to 1 billion just shows you they didn't know what they bought.
Right, exactly. But I think like it was those times when like anything was possible.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people can look back and be like, that was a stupid idea. But it's like literally there was no precedent. Like anything could have happened. Like,
well, not only that, but like back then and still to this day to a degree, YouTube as a revenue model is such a difficult beast. It's in my opinion, it is so accessible to become a YouTuber or a content creator in the day and age, but the amount of money that you will receive that equates to the effort that's expected is like unfair. And back then, you guys were the first in the partner program. Like you guys were breaking barriers and doors for so many folks to allow them to make income on YouTube in bigger ways. That if anything, like you guys were building the ship as you flew because you had no choice.
Right. Yeah. So, is that a secret heart?
Yeah, every stage has a heartbeat or a heart tank that gives you a little bit more health.
You know where they all are.
Yeah, I know this game in and out, so you're going to be seeing a bunch of weird bullshit throughout this.
Yeah, no, it's impressive.
Thank you.
So yeah. Anyway, Defy Media one day, kind of without us. No, I mean we had like an idea that something wasn't right, but one day we just all got an email while we were at work that Defy Media is no longer a company. Look,
I've been through that recently with G4, so I know all about that.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah. Did you get an email or was it? No, y'all found out on Twitter, right?
Dude. So I don't think anyone's really talked about this. So this is kind of what happened. The couple days before G4, there was a bunch of like micro management fights happening because I was an executive at G4. I became an executive a couple months into last year. No one knew I was an executive. I was like a secret agent that would like covertly report what I would see to the higher ups that needed to know. And it wasn't like a conniving thing. It was like hey, here's what's wrong with our system and here's how we can improve.
Right.
And so the weekend before the company got shut down, we were filming a brand deal for Ghostbusters. The new Ghostbusters game that came out last year. And we had the devs in the studio. We had all these Ghostbusters sets and props. Like, it was a really big production. And we were there till like 11 o'clock in the evening, midnight. And Barrety was there with us too, producing it. And as we were all leaving, I just got this feeling of like, this might be the last time I'm here. Like I had this like this overwhelming like something's not off. The amount of people that were in the building, like something just didn't seem right. And a couple days later, it was a Sunday. We got messages that Slack was down. So everyone was like, "Hey, Slack's not working right now." And then I messaged. I went into Slack and I had access still.
Oh,
And I was like,
no.
why do I have access to Slack?
Oh,
and then everyone was like, oh, hey,
the executives only.
I don't have access to Google Drive or email. And they were like, oh, we're changing our systems over to a more like conscientious web server. And I was like, dude, I know web stuff. Like, we use Google Suites. So like, unless we're going to a Comcast corporatized like Microsoft Outlook thing, this is weird. And so people that were remaining in the Slack were like, hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
And we were just told like, don't worry about it. Answers will come Monday.
Was it executives only that were left on Slack?
No, it was all the executives, which were very few of us.
Yeah.
And then some talent.
Oh.
So like there was some hosts that were just like, what is this? Why? What's going on? And then I'm on Twitter. And then Wario64 broke the news that a letter was leaked to the public that G4 was ceasing operations, and we never got that letter till the next day. So I was trending on Twitter for the first time ever.
Oh, boy.
Because I tweeted, "Hey, this is how I found out I lost my job. How neat." And that, so yeah, I've definitely been there. But they were smart enough to do it on a non-work day when no one was there. So we couldn't pillage like you guys did when stuff came to fruition.
That's actually true. Yeah. We did do some pillaging. I mean, it was all I think it was all legal pillaging at the end of the day.
At that point, absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, we were like in the middle of pre-production, like on like an upcoming shoot, and we were like asking like the whatever it was, like the lead producer or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, do we have a budget for next week? Like, are we shooting? And they're like, yeah, you're fine. And then we just get this email that's like, effective immediately, like Defy Media is like no longer a company, whatever. Blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. But I guess I forgot to mention, a year before that, a year and a half maybe before that, Anthony actually left Smosh. So after the years of like doing all this extra stuff that Anthony felt like wasn't really like
what Smosh was
core.
Yeah.
I think it just really wore him out. And the thing with Anthony is like he puts like if like he has like a project, he'll like put his whole heart into it.
Yeah.
Whereas like if I'm not really feeling a project, I won't. So I think that like really like wore him out. And like at that time, like we just didn't have like the communication skills to like talk about it and like assess like, oh, like, are we good? Like,
yeah.
What's going on with you? Like, how are you feeling? So yeah, he just got like so worn out that he just had to leave Smosh. So yeah, he left Smosh. Year and a half later, Defy goes out of business. Smosh goes into like an auction essentially.
Yeah.
To be sold to the highest bidder. Oh, these are kind of like the Hammer Bros.
Yeah, to a degree.
And is that at Heart?
Yeah.
Just getting at Heart?
Yeah.
Nice. So
it goes to auction.
yes. So it goes.
And
so the third
are
party,
you like third party auction? Did you have to go and see this your baby essentially like in a bidding war that you're like, what do I do? Like,
so I kind of like wound up getting like involved in the bidding and everything. So,
yeah.
Fortunately, somebody at Defy gave me access to the passwords of like the channel and stuff. So,
oh man.
So during this like whole downtime, I had access to the channel, so we were still able to upload
Analytics,
the videos that we had like saved,
Sure.
and even filmed some like new videos. Like, and we made like this whole video like we're homeless, essentially, like
Yeah.
Smosh is without a home, just kind of like people like just kind of like pitched in like some work to like keep it going in this meantime, because I believed like, this was shitty, but I didn't think it was going to be the actual end of Smosh. Like I was like, there's still like so much left to do here.
Yeah.
Like it just seems crazy to think like it's just going to be over. So I believed it was going to come back in some way.
Now I'm curious, did you get any reach out from, I mean, I don't know if you can say, but did YouTube proper reach out and go like, hey, what's going on? What can we do to help? Or they just kind of sat in the shadows and just kind of quietly seeing what was going on?
Yeah, no, I don't think they reached out, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's this tornado ability?
Oh, so Storm Eagle. So every time you kill an enemy,
You get their powers.
you get their powers. So this,
and you're choosing who to fight,
yes,
so you can like choose whose powers you bring into like what battle.
exactly. So
Whoa.
I have inherently, I have the ice power that we got from Chill Penguin.
Okay.
Chill Penguin's like the baby mode. You kind of want to kill him first because he's got the boots that make you go fast. That's why I went there first, because like it just otherwise momentum just gets destroyed.
God, you wrecked that guy.
Yeah, weaknesses in Mega Man games are like just completely destroy. That's why they're weaknesses.
So there's like a meta to like who you should be with.
Oh yeah, and honestly, like I say this is a speed run. It's just the fact that like we're gonna beat as quick as possible, but I am nowhere near talented than the actual speedrunning community is. So I just do like my speed run, which is just I pick the stages that I think I am like the most comfortable beating because I know them so well in the order and stuff. I don't know what I don't know what a Mandrill is, but we're gonna fight Spark Mandrill right now. So
Cool. Mandrill.
yeah,
He's a man with a drill.
So okay, I want to get back a little bit further before all this. Ian, when's your birthday?
November 30th.
November 30th. Okay, so I met you for the very first time at your birthday party up in Sacramento.
Was it my birthday party or was it the Smosh like anniversary party?
I think it was your birthday party.
Okay.
I remember it being your birthday party because it was in November. And it was right. I think you guys had already sold to Defy, and you were still operating, like kind of going back and forth between LA and Sacramento.
Yeah.
Until you guys both moved down.
Yep.
But or maybe it was the anniversary.
I think it was the anniversary party.
When was the anniversary party? Or
Same time.
The same time. Okay, yeah.
yeah.
But I think it was because I remember it being your. I think it must have been both or something like that. Because I remember like. So full context. Michael Barrett and I have been best friends since we were in high school.
Yep.
And we had done several YouTube projects together, and we're very familiar with content creation. And Mikey started working for you guys, what, like 2012? I think I want to say.
Yeah, he was probably one of our first like employees.
Yeah.
He was our first editor.
Yeah.
And he edited for us for a long ass time.
Yeah. Almost up until the Defy like explosion. Like I think he left the year before it happened.
Yeah. I mean, it was a long
and then Anthony
time.
left short after. Like it wasn't that.
Yeah. Barrett kicks ass.
Yeah.
He would always do these like these certain editing flourishes that we would call the Barrett special. Wow, you just wrecked that guy.
Yeah.
We call it the Barrett special because it's like if a video like was like there's something off about it, he would always find some way to like spruce it up.
He's the best. So when he told me he was working for you guys, I immediately was like, oh dude, they have a secret weapon they have no idea about. Like he's just so talented.
Yep.
And that's when I started doing YouTube in like 2011. And so he invited me to go to your guys's it was your birthday party / anniversary, and I was so scared. I was like, I don't want to go. I'm gonna like embarrass you.
What?
I'm gonna like, because you know how it is. Like at that point, you guys, and you still are YouTube royalty, right? And I was just like random bearded gaming YouTube guy trying to figure out how it all works. I had like, I think I had like 40,000 subscribers at the time. But I had been doing it for almost a year, and I was really learning. And I went to your guys' party, and I just remember being so comfortable there, not knowing anyone. Like everyone was having a good time, and Barry just was like, they're really cool. Like you got to come hang out. And I think in the end, Barry and I ended up back at your place, sleeping on your floor and your couch.
Yeah.
And then the next morning we went and we got Pancakes and Waffles.
That sounds right. Yeah.
And then we drove back, but it was just so meeting you and Anthony then was so cool.
Yeah.
Because I think in my mind I was like, these guys are too famous for anything,
funny.
and you guys were just so rad.
Well, I mean, you're a friend of Barity's, so I mean, yeah.
This guy is not gonna do anything. He's a
What
literal piece of shit.
loser.
Yeah, he's just not gonna. He's just gonna
Oh, he's doing
literally.
something right there. Oh, not anymore. See, this feels cheap.
Yeah, right.
I'm guessing that's normally a much harder fight.
Yeah,
if you don't have ice.
especially if you don't have ice. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
So yeah, that was the first time that we really met.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you've always been so cool to me, not knowing
Oh.
anything about who I am, and you've always been so supportive. Just of like, anytime I've hit a milestone or like done something cool, you've come to almost every indie land. Like, you've always just been a really cool dude, and it's just been seeing you go through what you've gone through, and in our paths crossing even at G4 and Smosh, because
Yeah.
there was at my time at G4 there was tons of talks
Yep.
about how do we acquire not necessarily Smosh, but like your guys' production assets and like take over stuff over for you. You guys probably toured a facility
Yeah.
dozens of times to see if you guys could save some cash and work with us.
Yeah. There was like it was really annoying because like we had done like a lot of work with like G4 and like trying to work out like a really like strong partnership.
Yeah.
And like G4 was running a 24-hour network and they needed content, so we were working out like licensing deal to have Smosh content be on G4 network.
Yeah.
And I mean, I feel like there's a lot of time that was spent trying to work out a good partnership.
Yeah.
And then like, that thing happened and it was just like, well,
Yeah. We were trying, man. There was,
for sure. I mean, like it's just that thing, like it's what a freaking cool ass space. And it's just so sad that like so much of it was during COVID where like it wasn't you weren't able to use it.
Yeah.
And it was this like beautiful space with like, what was it, like 60 miles of cabling?
Dude, it was
There's some like insane amount of cabling in that place to allow live streaming anywhere in the building. Like
we
this
were
massive
ready
facility.
to, like, we could have hosted the Oscars and then some. Like,
Yeah.
we could have hosted the Oscars, the Super Bowl, and like Hassan on Twitch, and still would have had enough bandwidth
It was
to keep going.
yeah, it was insanely overbuilt.
Yeah.
It was cool. Just,
Stuff happens.
right place, wrong time.
Yeah, I think for me, and maybe you can kind of maybe we'll empathize with this. I've always viewed YouTube as a stepping stone because I didn't want it to be the place where I ended up as a forever home for making content. I went to school for theater and film. My goal always was to produce movies and to act and perform. And YouTube felt like the right place for an actor to like get well known, right? And you see that especially true now with things like TikTok and the early days of Vine, right? Like, there was that guy who does like the IKEA bit where he's like plays that music that's like dun 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 dun. He's like, do you know where the bathroom is? Yeah, I work here. I hate working at IKEA. Like that guy. He's now an actor, and he's like he was in Cocaine Bear, and like
Yeah.
so influencers are like figuring out nowadays that like you aren't just your last TikTok video, or whatever it may be. You can be more than that. But I've kind of been stuck for a long time, I feel, in this zone of like, I will always be the fat bearded guy who completes games. And as much as I love YouTube, I've kind of aspired to do so many things, but you guys at Smosh have already accomplished so much. And what's weird is that you accomplished it on Defy's dime. Like, you guys had the Smosh movie and the Food Battle mobile game and the Smosh magazine. Like, those are all crazy, cool, pioneering things for a content creator to do.
Yeah.
But it wasn't really yours at the end of the day. Like how did that whole process feel for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, like, for us at that, like, I think, you know, our strategy back then was to just get like bigger and better.
Yeah.
And the more like traditional stuff we could add to our plates, the more legitimate Smosh appeared.
Yeah.
So for us, like, you know, doing like the magazine and doing the movie was like a way to show like, oh, like Smosh is like legit. And yeah, I mean, like, I think the thing is, like, you know, our goal was always like, we had always said, like, you know, we're not going to leave YouTube. Like, YouTube to us is our base.
Yeah.
So can Mega Man breathe underwater?
Yeah, he's a robot.
Okay, but air bubbles are coming out of him.
Yeah, it's weird.
So can he breathe water or what? What's going on here?
He's exhausting water out of his system, maybe?
This is the oddest underwater sequence because there's actually no detriment to being underwater. You can't suffocate.
Yeah, you're somehow like an electrical being that's not being electrocuted for being in water.
Oh no.
These guys are my favorite because you just jump and they just die.
So is there any change in the physics when he's underwater?
He jumps a lot higher.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
He does jump a lot higher.
That's the difference.
Yeah.
Okay. It's the obligatory underwater sequence.
Yeah.
Sorry. So yeah, like to me, like I don't think being the bearded guy playing video games online is like a bad thing.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's where your audience is.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think, like, you know, I certainly understand the desire for somebody that blew up on TikTok to want to branch out.
Yeah.
Because TikTok just isn't a place to build an audience.
Yeah.
Really. Like, it's like, I think YouTube is still like the best platform out of all of them. And it's just so wild that like YouTube's like been here for so long, and yet like nobody's been able to like beat it.
Yeah.
Like, they still have the best compensation for users.
Yeah.
And I think it's still, I would say, the best place for building audience. Maybe not for discovery. Like, I think TikTok has them beat on discovery probably.
Yeah.
But then like, what does that even mean? Like, what does it mean to have 4 million followers on TikTok? Like, when they won't show up if you do something slightly different from your successful TikTok.
Right.
Like, I think it's so sad that
it's like the equivalent of Dance Monkey Dance.
Yeah, like, it's like I don't know, like it's just sad to me that, like, you know, you can hit big on TikTok and have people like really excited for like, oh, I'm the farmer that has a pet llama named Eeyore or whatever. And then you try to do something remotely different, like, oh, here's a duck, and people are like, fuck you, go back to the llama. Like, and I think that's like, or like it just simply won't get served.
Yeah.
So
I'm laughing because it's real. Like that's a real thing.
Yeah. And it sucks. It like really, really sucks. And TikTok doesn't offer the same kind of compensation that YouTube does.
Yeah.
And I feel like they probably never will, because they don't have to, because people are so enamored by the possibility of fame that nobody's ever going to like demand more than that.
Yeah.
Like, it's very easy to like, well, I won't say it's very easy, but anybody could get 1 million views on TikTok. But like, what does that even mean?
Yeah, what is like it's like the theoretical dollars. I was watching an old episode of South Park that featured all the viral hits, like Numa Numa guy, Chocolate Rain,
the Tron guy,
Hamster. Like, it's so funny seeing how far YouTube's come and like what's considered viral.
Yeah,
that like those guys were considered viral hits that kind of came and went, but nowadays, like I always say this, but I think it's true. Yeah, Boomer Quanger. Basically, Boomer Beatles, what his name is, but Quanger is like we don't have Quangers in the States.
Sounds like an Australian word.
Yeah, right.
Quanga. Sorry, what were you saying?
No, I'm saying as a society, I don't think we were meant to go viral every day. Like I think like we were not supposed to be on our phones all the time, actively looking for funny validation, like incessantly. It just doesn't make sense to me that is what this kind of whole game has become.
Yeah.
And it's weird because, like, you know, I understand Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts and TikTok, but like, to me, what I don't understand about it is if you can't make the same amount of money or you can't make the same amount of creative flow from it outside of you grow your audience, then what's the point of doing those things if you can't actually grow your audience and do something with it?
Yeah, well, I mean, I won't say everybody, but a lot of people want recognition, want fame, like they want to show their talents. Like I don't think it's a bad thing to like want that, but I think TikTok definitely like benefits off of that, and there will always be somebody new, and therefore there will always be good content on TikTok.
Sure. How often are you on TikTok, would you say? Never? Me too.
So I guess like maybe I shouldn't be talking shit because I'm actually not really like a user, but I mean, it's the same principle though, right? I still wind up consuming TikTok because people send me clips and I'll watch them.
Yeah.
But I don't use TikTok.
At G4, because of Attack of the Show, which you were on, that was my exposure to TikTok, was like reviewing memes and such that I would see. And it was very weird for me because we had a lot of Gen Z people on our staff who were like laughing at all these bits. And I always had a hard time laughing at it because, you know, and I don't know if I definitely felt like a boomer in the room, right? Like, oh man, am I finally not understanding what everyone's doing? Because they showed TikToks that like had like 5 levels of homework to do. It's like that feeling when blankety blank blank with blank, and it's like a movie with the Matrix, but like it's talking about a musician, and you're like, what are we talking about? Like, what is the point of any of this?
That's really funny.
Like the Grimace stuff, I understand. That's funny to me. But like outside of that, like when you have so much homework to understand a 7-second video, it's a little bit much for me personally.
Well, and like you talk about Grimace Shake, like after like 2 days it was done.
Yes.
So it's like you have to do like homework on stuff that like, you know, it won't even matter in a week.
Yeah. Like 1 second it's the Grimace Shake, the next people are doing the get knocked off of a boat and die challenge, and it's like, what are we doing?
Wait,
like,
is this real?
It's not. It's like it's challenges that have gone wrong. It's like people are. I don't know what it is. Megan, do you know what it is? It's like people are all like dancing on boats and then getting knocked off and like dying because they're doing this challenge.
What?
It's a real freaking thing, and it's
like off of like cruise ship.
No, like a speedboat, like a yacht or a speedboat, like on a lake. People are like doing these things, and like 7 people have died doing this challenge.
Wait, what?
Yeah, it's freaking real.
I guess I shouldn't laugh, but like that's well, I mean, like I'm not surprised.
Yeah,
like it's the game of like one-upmanship.
Yeah,
and when you're competing with not just like 100 YouTubers, but you're competing with 1 million TikTokers. Like, yeah, you gotta somehow do it bigger and better than everyone else.
Yeah.
So, well, that sucks. That's sad.
Yeah, it's very bizarre. I think every time I talk to someone at YouTube or at TikTok or Instagram, the conversation that I've always been told or recommended is like, please use our new feature, because our new feature is like primed to make you succeed.
Yeah.
And I've gone to a point in my life where I have such little stock in what those companies kind of push, just because who knows what's going to be there, right? Like, freaking YouTube is pushing Google Stadia so hard. They were like, Google Stadia, it's gonna integrate into YouTube, and you're gonna be able to monetize, and your audience is gonna be able to monetize, and you're gonna buy games through you in cloud gaming. And then like 2 years later,
That was fast.
it's gone.
That was
Yeah.
sad.
Yeah.
Like, I think it like maybe it was like too early or something.
I think it was too early. I think it was too early, and the marketing was not.
Xbox is still doing cloud gaming, right?
Yeah, and they're succeeding because it's like still in like a very alpha beta stage. It's like it's not a charged service, so it's included for free in what you were already owning.
So you're
through
kind of like a guinea pig.
Exactly, you're helping test the xCloud,
But you're not paying for.
You're not really paying for it
a new
specifically.
console. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah, and it's a complementary service to something you already own. So you're not like, you know what I mean? Like, you're not, you didn't have to go out and buy a Google Chromecast in order for your Xbox to work.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, I guess like Stadia probably didn't do good because it just wasn't that good. It was like, I mean, you remember the Ouya.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah,
you know,
on this channel we very much remember the Ouya. We used to use one all the time
yeah,
as our emulation box because it was a very small,
you like hack it, right?
Yeah, it was very easy to hack and put games on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I feel like that was like kind of similar, whereas like it was cheap, you know, but like at the end of the day, like the hardware sucked.
Yeah.
Like the like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I guess some people had success with Stadia, and like you could play like Cyberpunk on it, right?
Yeah, apparently Cyberpunk is really solid.
That's so wild.
For as awful as Cyberpunk ended up becoming.
What were the graphics like on Stadia for Cyberpunk? Was it like PC level graphics?
Well, I think so, because the idea was that you were playing one PC on a server farm that's being cloned and reprocessed several times.
That's insane.
Across Google servers.
Yeah.
And that's actually the saddest thing about Stadia, is that if anyone's going to do a cloud gaming service thing, Google is the company
It
to
should
have
have
done
been.
it.
Yeah,
they
totally.
like the way they do YouTube and how it ingests everything. Like, man, oh man, the technology was definitely there in right place, but definitely wrong time, I feel.
Yeah.
But the thing is, though, is that YouTube has been so active about integrations that just disappear, right? Like, remember, Google Plus was a huge thing for YouTube for a while, then it was phased out. And YouTube gaming in the beginning was like meant to be seen as a Twitch competitor, right? It was like, it was genuinely seen as like a better place to stream on product wise, and product wise the quality is better on YouTube because you can't compete with it. But like, to this day, in my opinion, YouTube still has some of the worst chat systems. It's still like archaic in how it works and functions. And instead of improving the platform, making it better and making it more viable for anyone, they just are like, here's a fat check to Ludwig. Here's a fat check to Dr. Disrespect. I think he is doing it for free because he has no other choice. But the idea is like, you know, improving the platform and making it better is one thing, but to just kind of bury what didn't work and now your favorites are here was just such a weird thing to me.
Yeah. But I mean, like, stuff like YouTube Shorts is here to stay. And that's something that like YouTube pushed like hard on creators, being like, hey, you might want to do shorts.
Yeah.
And I think like everyone was kind of like waiting to see if, like, you know, because we've seen features come and go. Yeah. But I mean, shorts is definitely here to stay. Like, they've definitely found success with shorts.
I think so too. I think the
memberships too.
I saw when you guys were launching this new version of Smosh that you guys were really pushing memberships to justify the cost of stuff.
Yeah.
And I've really appreciated how you guys have done it, because you guys have framed it in such a genuine, honest way of like, hey, sketch comedy has no place on YouTube, which is very true. it's long form content or shorts, which is like even shorter than a sketch, right?
Right.
Like I'd say shorts and TikToks are almost like what's the punchline of a sketch in 6 to 7 seconds,
Right. Yeah.
And even at that, like, is it funny? Like,
Yeah, I think like for us, like I think that there is a place for sketch comedy on YouTube, but it just has to be through a different model that's not ad revenue, because you can't make a 20-minute long sketch.
yeah,
Like it just doesn't work that way. Like you
Yeah,
watch
absolutely.
Saturday Night Live, and like if a sketch goes longer than like 4 minutes, it's like, oh brother,
you're like, please
Like,
get me out of here. Yeah,
it's tough, man. So that was the issue we were running into for years
yeah,
at Smosh, where we're just like, dude, like unless you're getting like 1 million views a month, like it doesn't really make sense to be uploading 1 or 2 4-minute long videos every week
yeah,
and making that much sketch comedy, like 2 like original comedy sketches a week, is unsustainable.
yeah,
So, you know, we had this kind of conversation where like, this just doesn't work anymore.
yeah,
Fortunately, you know, when I got back together with Anthony, so when Anthony left Smosh, at that point in our friendship, like we weren't really friends anymore,
yeah,
because we were just business partners at that point.
yeah,
So we really didn't talk that much for a couple of years, and it was only last year when we reconnected and started talking more and kind of like rekindled our friendship and started talking about like what would it be like to do sketch comedy again. And then there was just kind of that aha moment of like, oh, like with, you know, these options weren't available to us really like a year ago, like doing memberships like this on YouTube. Like, yeah, there's Patreon, but that like requires people to go an extra step to
Leave the
become a
platform.
member.
Yeah.
And so it was just kind of like one of those right place, right time kind of things where it's like, oh, this could actually work, and we can give people like what they want. And, you know, years and years ago, we used to have behind the scenes footage and deleted scenes
on a separate channel, right?
It would be on our website. And,
Oh, that's right.
And that would monetize better for us. But when that kind of went away, we were like, okay, let's put BTS on our main channel, and that would obviously do worse.
Yeah.
So it kind of hurt the channel. And we were like, okay, but a lot of people want this, but we can't put this on the channel because it hurts the channel. So we're like,
Yeah.
okay, let's put it on the second channel. Like there, it's like the more like hardcore viewers, and like that still didn't work. And we were like, how do we do this where we don't like hurt the channel?
Yeah.
But
for the
give people
OGs
what
that
they
really want it. Yeah.
And then it was like, we're trying to figure out like, what can we give people for like the memberships? And we're like, oh, this is exactly the answer. Like,
Yeah. It's the full circleness of the Smosh audience coming back.
yeah. So it's just like, it's so crazy. Like all this stuff like had to happen this way for
Yeah.
us to like, for it to work today in 2023.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like, it's kind of wild to see it all just kind of like work out this way, and we're super happy super happy to see like the audience like really showed up.
Yeah.
And it's just like a really cool moment for us and the viewer base. Did you just kill yourself?
Yeah. Oh, we're getting the secret completion bonus in this game.
Oh.
This was so fun fact for you, because I'm sure you're not too familiar.
No.
This is the very first episode of The Completionist, Mega Man X. This is one of my favorite games of all time. And one of the reasons why I loved it so much is because it's one of the few games that has a completion bonus and or secret that makes the game
Ooh.
that much more fun and exciting to play
Okay.
as you're getting towards the end. So right now, essentially what's required of it is you have to come to this stage again, Armored Armadillo stage,
Okay.
and you have to climb this wall, grab that health pellet, and die, and or return. I could leave the stage and come back, but it would still count.
Yeah.
Dying is just a faster way. And by doing so, we're going to get a secret power up, and that secret power up is Ryu's Hadouken from Street Fighter.
Let's go.
Yeah, so,
wait, how did somebody figure this out?
So it's funny because everyone always asks me that when we do this, but you have to remember this is a game that came out with 92,
Before the
93,
internet.
which
Yeah.
meant we had things like Nintendo Power and EGM, and so like this was featured heavily in those magazines.
Okay.
So back in the day, that's how it was almost like no one was meant to figure it out, but they almost made it for the magazines to share.
Got it. Okay. Yep.
And this became a thing that they had this kind of reward in Mega Man X2 and X3 as well.
Yeah.
It kind of went away in the later games, but this was like kind of their little nod to their other Capcom franchise.
Ah.
In X2,
cool.
you get Ken's Fire Shoryuken. The next 3, I think you get like a lightsaber.
Got it. Yeah, Capcom's kind of like coming back.
Oh, they're coming back
in a
real
good,
strong.
in a good way.
Oh
right?
yeah, they've been
Like-
crushing it.
Like they've been having some good releases lately. Huh?
Yeah, Street Fighter 6 was amazing. Resident Evil 4 remake, Resident Evil 7 and 8 were really great. Monster Hunter's been a good time. They've really been putting in the work.
Yeah. I never got into Monster Hunter. It wasn't my vibe.
I get it. It's
It was like we did like I remember we did like a brand deal. We did like a brand deal for them. It was when they were doing the it was probably like the worst era. Where it was like I want to say it was Wii U and Nintendo 3DS cross compatibility.
Yep, I remember those days.
And they wanted us to like beat a monster.
Yeah,
But it's like, you know, like when you're like when we did like Smosh Games, we would try to record like 6 videos in a day.
yeah.
And like
So what are you supposed to
playing
do?
Monster Hunter isn't exactly conducive to like a 2-hour playtime. And it was a nightmare.
Yeah.
Like
It's not the kind of game you pick up and play. You have to learn it.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
and like neither of us had ever played a Monster Hunter game
Yeah.
before, so we were like way out of our element. We're like it was that thing where it's like we're like, okay, we found the monster, and then he'd like run out of the stage. I'm like, where did he go?
Yeah,
And then like we're like, oh, we didn't hit him with a paintball or something, so now we don't know where
you can't
he
track
is.
him. Yeah,
And so it took us like an hour to like find him again, and then he killed us, and then we had to like start all over, and like it just took hours, and like oh god, it was a nightmare. I was
It's
like,
fun-
I'm
it's-
never playing Monster Hunter.
it's
ever
so
again.
funny because in that moment, that is when that generation of Monster Hunter
Yeah.
is what launched its success. Because it was always popular in Japan,
Right, but that was
but in
like,
the States, it was struggling.
yeah.
And so they made like because of brand deals like you, I did that brand deal too.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like that was the era of it. It's like while it was hard to master, there were Monster Hunter YouTubers that were like, "This is my time. I've been
Sure.
waiting, and here I am." So like, it's so funny because you would have assumed that like based off of your experience that like Monster Hunter would have gone away, but has only now gotten more accessible,
Right.
more fun, weird like promotions like you can play as Mega Man and Monster Hunter and Ryu and whatnot.
Of course.
Aloy from Horizon
Oh,
and whatnot.
funny. Wait, is no Horizon Zero Dawn's not a Capcom property.
No, but it was one of those sponsorship type things.
Got it. It
Where,
was
like-
like a mutually beneficial.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Those companies do all this stuff all the time.
Oh, Zero's back.
Yeah. So Zero and Vile are going to go fight to the death, and we're trying to catch up with them.
Oh no. Yeah. So yeah, I don't suspect I'll ever play another Monster Hunter game again. Although
I don't blame
Monster
you.
Hunter folks, if you're the marketing team, if you're listening to this right now, I will totally take a brand deal and play it again.
Hey, man, you gotta
I just
take what you
won't
can
do
get.
it for fun. I mean, like, well, Monster Hunter is like one of those games where like you got to put in the work.
It's
You
a
gotta put
very
in the time.
you have to understand the game in and out.
Yeah,
You
can't
have to
be a
put in the
casual.
time. Yeah, you can't just show up and be like, "How do I play this?"
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. And that's sorry, but it's not me. It's not me. Okay, so you intentionally getting wrecked here?
Yeah. So Vile, when you fight him in the beginning, he beats you up and you have to die, right?
Got it.
It's the same in this fight because he has this mech that is just impenetrable.
Okay,
He has no
great.
HP, but then when you get low on HP, you
How
like
frustrated were you when you played this the first
oh, for hours as a kid, I was like, I can go back and beat him this time, I swear.
time?
And you just can't. He's literally invincible.
And they don't give you a health bar to like know if he's invincible. or
Exactly.
not.
So you just sit
Yeah.
there and you shoot and you shoot and you shoot until you're overpowered.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. There was another game that was like that, where it was like, the guy was like way OP at the very beginning, and you just get your ass beat. But
So now Vile's armor is defeated because Zero sacrificed himself.
oh, let's go Zero.
So now we got to get revenge.
Okay. So Zero
Let's-
dead? Did he died?
Essentially, yeah. He's here dying off screen right now.
Oh no.
So let's see if we can. I'm gonna try and get the Hadouken off on this guy.
Let's
From here on out, I'm gonna try and one shot every boss that we can.
oh, okay.
That's the goal in the
Does it take like a serious charge time?
kind of yeah. It's like an input thing. So
Okay.
I already ruined it. Let's see if I can. I'll waste it. I'm not above it. I'll waste the full health. Got him.
Got him.
Easy peasy.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. The weird thing is that
So Hadouken is a one-shot kill.
yeah. The unfortunate thing about the Hadouken though is that you have to do it like the Hadouken, so it's down, circle forward,
Yep.
like that.
Yep.
But the problem is when you're in the moment, see how sometimes you still shoot the bullet.
Yep.
So if you don't do it right, sometimes you'll hit them and then shoot the Hadouken, so they get iframes from the pellet, and the Hadouken will hit them and do nothing.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, so you have to kind of like chart. You have to really take some time to like practice it a little bit.
Oh no.
So something that you didn't really know about, and it's like not that important, but like it's something that I always remember. So Michael and I, whenever I saw, without you and Anthony really knowing, I saw almost every Smosh cut before anyone else saw it. Michael and I had this thing called the Swamp. It's our
Okay.
metaphorical place we go where, because I'm working the completionist by myself, writing, producing, editing,
Yeah.
and he's staying up every night, late night, working on Smosh stuff. And so we would always just ping each other at like 2 or 3 in the morning, like, hey, you up? Like, yeah, what's going on? Like, look at this, let me know what you think. And so we would constantly share cuts with each other of the stuff we were working on and give each other feedback and ideas.
Okay, so is there a certain Smosh editing flourish that you could lay claim to?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
If anything, the one thing that I had a little more like advice for Michael, just because he like wanted to make sure it was right, was the Zelda video. Like every reference, everything you guys would do, like
Yeah.
I'd give Michael some recommendations of things like, hey, it'd be really sick if you tried this or did this.
Yeah.
And luckily, like, because Anthony was always so critical with Michael about notes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
That
yeah.
like I didn't have to give too many. But that was something that I always remember telling Michael, like, hey man, like if you ever need notes for anything, like I'm here to listen and help you get through. I'm playing really bad right now. I'm gonna reset this.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what you're doing.
You're supposed to use the Sting Chameleon outfit to kind of be invincible through this and then just skip all the fight.
Got it.
But I was also trying to like get some health and whatnot so I can, but I'm just like, whatever, I'll just go up here. Yeah, fuck it, we'll just do it. Yeah, so that wasn't like I have no input or moment in the Smosh video that I'm like, I did that. But I saw a lot of them, and so I always would give Michael as much feedback as I could. See, I gave him the Hadouken. Come on.
Oh no.
All right, let's. No, you know what? I'm gonna save it. I'll fight him normal, just because the next fight's really hard.
Homing missiles are pretty helpful.
Oh, very much so. The weaknesses are you just save a few seconds, right? It's always, to me, is always like fucking bragging rights, bitch. It got you the Hadouken.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, so a lot of my career early on was staying up till 4, 5, 6 in the morning with Michael, looking at Smosh edits and
funny.
completionist edits together, and being like, how can we make this better? How do we like make it faster and smarter and interesting? So I saw the Assassin's Creed video, which was always so sick.
Yeah.
I think that might be my favorite between that and the two Assassin's Creed videos and the Majora's or the Zelda rap video.
Yeah.
I thought were always just so genius. Honestly, like, it felt like you guys were really pioneering like music videos to a degree for creators who necessarily weren't the most musically not that you guys weren't musically based, but like
No,
your
that's
guys'
funny.
performances were so good and genuine in those moments
Oh yeah.
that like people could do sketch comedy via music videos.
Yeah, I think we were inspired by Lonely Island to a certain degree.
Totally.
Of like doing like comedy music, but also like, I mean, like, I always loved Weird Al.
Oh, dude.
Like I grew up listening to,
Yeah.
to Weird Al. So
Bad Hair Day is like one of the best albums ever made.
like I always found like comedy like music fun.
Yeah.
And to
Got him.
nice. Got him with the Hadouks.
Yeah.
I don't know how we like came up with the idea to do it for like a video game character, but I think we just thought it would be funny to have like take a property that's like kind of like wholesome and do like our idea of like what like a hardcore rap would be and like make it like dirty.
Yeah.
And I think that's like why we came to like doing Zelda first. And I think that the Assassin's Creed 3 song has aged better than
The Pirates 4 one.
than Zelda.
You think so?
I think too, like, I don't know, there's just some lyrics are just like
Oh,
whack.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm just like not a fan of some of like the lyrics, and I mean, it looks sweet.
Yeah.
And it was fun to like be Link.
Yeah.
That was cool. And like have these like really incredibly made costumes.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, because this is like a great question that I just came to mind. So people don't really maybe recognize this, but like the Assassin's Creed 3 and Black Flag videos, essentially at the end were brand deals,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Like those videos popped
Yeah,
off because
yeah.
they're great music videos with great production value about
But
a
they were
franchise.
branded. We were paid
but
for those.
you were paid to
Yeah.
make those videos.
Yep.
What was the notes like from
Yeah.
Ubisoft to be like, hey, that part where the B-boys
Yeah.
are dancing in the back, like, can they not do that? Like, what was that process like?
Yeah, it's really funny because the Assassin's Creed 3 music video was first.
Yeah.
And the notes, they were really good on like not giving like a lot of notes. Which made it extra confusing because that was okay, so it was really successful.
Yeah.
I don't see a lot of brands being okay with, lines like "How many fools can I kill today?" and like talking about like chopping people with
the tomahawk. Yeah.
and shooting people and doing a drive-by in a
Yeah.
carriage. And just like there was a lot of stuff in there, and it was totally approved, and it was really successful.
Yeah.
And so they came back for Black Flag.
Yeah.
And we were like, okay, we want to do something different. We
Yeah.
want to do like a rock anthem kind
Yeah.
of thing. And they gave us a lot more notes.
Whoa.
Yeah. They were like, we had a lot of jokes about like scurvy. And they were like, like we need to like maybe just like one joke about scurvy. Like we don't want to focus on the gross like pirate aspects. And like we had like stuff about like winches and stuff. And they're like, yeah, like we don't know about this. And it's like, bro, they're pirates. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't we make jokes about like the fact that like they're like malnourished and that there's like, you know, winches and stuff. Like that's just the whole freaking vibe, bro. So that was confusing. We got a lot more notes on that one.
Yeah.
And I think as a result, I think like admittedly the music isn't as attractive as 3. But I do think that a large part of like why the Black Flag one wasn't as successful was because of the notes that we got.
So it's funny. They're not going to watch this. I don't really care if they come back or not. Ubisoft is one of the companies I dread working with. They always come back.
Yeah.
For me specifically, and I don't know why. Someone out there loves me, I think. I have done more brand deals for Ubisoft than any other company.
Wow.
And every time I work with them,
you're like, never again.
Never again. Or or now, because you know Michael is our head of production, head of creative here. I you know now that he's like with me full time, he really gets to see all the bullshit that we go through, and he's the guy who has to deal with it now. So whenever he gets anything from them, he will do his best to overwhelm them so they give up on all of their credit, on all of their ideas.
Fair.
So he'll be like, here's 30 ideas we can do for you, and they get so afraid of Michael that they'll pick 1 or 2 that they think is good, and then Michael will force them to commit to those ideas because of stuff like that, where it's like they give too many notes, they get stuck on weird notes, like that's not in the game, or you're saying it wrong.
Yeah, I guess like I also don't want to put the blame on the developer necessarily, because a lot of the times it's
the PR company in the middle.
It's an advertising agency
totally
that are making these requests on behalf of the developer.
Yeah,
and a lot of times they're not actually even checking with the developer on like whether or not they're okay with it. They're making a lot of assumptions, so that they don't have to go back.
Maybe that scurvy joke wouldn't work, and it's like, did you show the people who are paying for this video?
And most likely they didn't.
Yeah,
so I think there's 2 factors. So I think it's that.
Yeah,
but then I think it's also they're trying to justify their job.
Sure.
Like if you give them a product that's perfectly fine on first pass, they're gonna give you a note. Like, just to justify their job. Like, they can't go to their like supervisor and say like, actually, the video they did, it's good.
It's perfect.
It's good to go.
Yeah. No, it was great.
They have to make some kind of stupid fucking note.
Yeah.
In order to justify their job, I think. In a lot of ways. I think
you're totally right.
So I don't hold it against Ubisoft. Yeah. It's usually the agency that sucks.
So I'd love to pick your brain on this. So within reason, obviously Anthony left Smosh, but at kind of the same time, the new Smosh cast was kind of introduced and is obviously still around and a part of it. You had the Smosh Games guys obviously in the beginning, and now you've got Courtney and Damien and those folks. What was it like for you to kind of experience that change? Because did you have a hand in picking the people, or was it just like, did Defy come in and be like, this is the new Smosh, kids, say yes to this?
Yeah, we had a hand in the picking of them, but Defy and the person kind of like running. Oh, this is a creepy guy.
Yeah, right.
Defy and the person that was kind of like running the things. They came from a traditional background, traditional media background, and I think it's pretty easy to like look at the first cast that was casted and go like without knowing who these people are.
Yeah.
Just going like, what is this Disney bullshit? Like with like the kind of like the casting. It looks like this kind of like perfect like mixture of like people from like different backgrounds and stuff, and that was like, you know, that was kind of a mandate, I think. And so, I mean, yeah, it on the surface looked silly.
Yeah.
But, you know, after some, you know, butting heads with the new cast, like they became family.
Yeah.
And like, I think we actually got really lucky with the people that we chose.
Yeah.
We did a traditional casting process, like where people came in and auditioned.
Yeah.
We looked to Saturday Night Live as like kind of a blueprint for what we wanted to do with Smosh, where it's like, you know, find funny people
Yeah.
and develop them within Smosh, and provide opportunities for them within Smosh. Or if they suddenly become like massive stars and have to leave Smosh to, I don't know, get a Marvel movie or something, like then that's great. Like,
Yeah.
that's just like that makes us look good. It's
Brand
like,
awareness. Yeah.
So yeah, like we
Well, I
did,
mean,
like,
you
a
had Shane with the
traditional-
Goldbergs. Like Shane's
Shane's
been working for so long, and obviously the Disney Channel stuff too. Like those guys have been popping up all over the place. But I feel like that's always helped the Smosh brand. It never felt like they were
Yeah.
like, and now we leave Smosh to go and be famous.
Right. But if they have to, like, that's cool. Like,
Yeah.
we'll be like super happy for them, and like people go like, oh, that person actually like got their start at Smosh, and
Yeah.
and that's like that's cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like, I think the way that they were introduced was not the way that Anthony and I would have done it. Like, Defy was very much like, we've hired them, they're now employees, you need to start putting them in videos as much as possible. And we're like, hold up, like, people
gotta-
have known Smosh as Anthony and Ian.
Yeah.
They need time to like adjust to these new people. And Defy was very adamant about like, we're paying for these people, you need to put them in videos. So I think that the way that their introduction was handled was not the way that Anthony and I would have done it,
Yeah.
because it was a shock to the audience. And I think a lot of people were really upset by that. And I understand that. So it's, yeah, I mean, like, eventually it wound up being okay. Like, I think a lot of people like really fell in love with them,
Yeah.
and we continue to expand cast and have people come and go. And yeah, I think we're in the best place that we've ever been in terms of like who's on camera. Hadouken, bitch.
Got him.
And yeah, it's just a cool moment.
Yeah. It's funny. It's so interesting to me because so when I got G4 and started meeting some of the people that were there, I have been around this business long enough to know, and I'm sure you do too, because you see the same subset of folks. The first thing I did is I went to LinkedIn.
Okay.
Everyone who was like, I work at G4 now. The
Yeah.
first thing I did was I went to LinkedIn. I was like, okay, I know that, like, to a degree, that the online content creation space, if you're not a content creator or a producer and you're at an executive level, you have been looped into some capacity. You've worked at Defy or Maker
Right.
or whatever.
Yeah.
And so
definitely.
immediately when I
It's a
showed up,
small world.
when I showed up at G4 and I met executives and people who were making bigger calls than they should have been, and I the minute they were like, they'd make a questionable call,
Yeah.
I would immediately go, that person used to work at Machinima, or that person worked at Defy, or that person worked at Maker,
Yeah.
and I was right every time. Every single time I was like, that person doesn't understand content. They don't understand how this works. And
Yeah.
it sucks that like they somehow grifted their way here. Like they somehow still, they left one company
Yep.
to actively continue.
Fail upwards.
Exactly. And I saw that so much at G4 at a higher level, which was a shame because all the producers and the writers and the directors and the production teams
Yeah.
were so talented. They were so fun to work with, and they understood it so much. And so there was a very big fundamental difference. And you saw those people get pushed out. The weird ones that made like they got pushed out early on or
that's good that at least like decisions were being like hard decisions were being made.
Yeah, constantly.
Like, and that's good. Like that's what should happen. Like you should recognize when somebody doesn't work and rectify that situation as soon as possible. So at least they did that.
Yeah, there was definitely I'll tell you afterwards.
Turnover.
There was someone who came from Defy that I was like, oh no, like this. I was like, this is not a.
Oh yeah,
I would not. I do not like this, sir. Please don't do this. And because again, like the first thing I do when I saw someone like that, I was like, I would call.
Wait, say their name and we'll just blank it out of the podcast.
Sure, Ted, you ready for a note? Okay, ready?
I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of speculation on like why G4 happened the way it did, but like I think one of the main things from an outsider's perspective is like it bridged this like gap where like it wasn't quite traditional media, but it wasn't quite digital media.
Yeah.
Like, and then it's like who's running it? Is it traditional media people or is it digital media people?
Yeah.
Because I don't think that G4 with the spend, I don't think G4 could be just a digital media company.
Yeah.
But
all the money we were making was on the TV front.
Right.
And all of the money we were losing was on the digital front.
Okay, yeah.
And I think it's because we were built to burn money quick.
Mm-hmm.
Because the phrase that was told to us multiple times was there's a 10-year plan, we expect losses.
Yeah.
So they kept saying 10-year plan, 10-year plan, 10-year plan.
Yeah.
You know, we don't expect successes out the door.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable. Like
Yeah.
you guys, I mean the whole place was like built to succeed. It's just like you had to find like I think maybe they figured that there would be a larger audience quicker.
Yeah. Well, I mean, two things to add to that. One, the first few months of G4, we were doing the first year, I'd say, we were doing very well.
Yeah.
Like from a number perspective, like videos, like the thing that killed the channel, in my opinion, wasn't like the political stuff, the dramas. That didn't have anything to do with it. That stuff affected the SEO aspect, which, as you know, then forced us to pivot and like come up with the more unique ways to title and thumbnail things, which that was what my job was as an executive, was to come up with titles and thumbnails and tags for videos. And that part was easy because it's all data driven. You open YouTube Analytics and you go, oh, users left at this point in the video. Why? Oh, there was a joke here. Great. Let's not do that joke anymore. Or, oh, the click-through rate's bad. Oh, I needed a better thumbnail. Cool. Like, we still had viral videos take place on G4, even in all the turmoil that was happening, because we knew the content was good. We had oddly high retention. We had oddly high engagement for the people who are watching it, but videos wouldn't hit recommended, or if they did, they would be basically view bombed by other creators who were capitalizing off of the political heat of G4.
Right. Yeah.
But the second thing that, and to go along with that,
forgot about all that.
Yeah. Well, but to go along with that though, imagine. Okay, so you guys have Smosh, Smosh Pit, Smosh Games.
Yep.
Right. 3 different services for 3 different types of content.
Yep.
When we launched a G4, we had the G4 Hub, we had the XPlay Hub, we had the Attack of the Show Hub, and that was it. But what it was supposed to be was, or what kind of ended up happening was all of the content would get rolled out in real time on the G4 Hub.
Yeah.
And then would get posted as VODs later on the XPlay and Attack Hub.
Yeah, it's confusing.
It's confusing, and the marketing was not good behind it, and there was no. So one of the first thing I did when I came in was like, XPlay is XPlay. All XPlay content goes on XPlay. All Attack of the Show content goes on Attack of the Show, and the G4 Hub is a clip channel.
Yeah, okay.
Like that's the way to do it, because outside of that, you're asking for a catch-all be-all solution for things that don't have that. It does. You can't just request that because YouTube doesn't work that way. It's different than traditional media, right? It's very, very different. I forgot what the weakness is. No, it's not that. I usually just give him the Hadouken and call it a day.
Yeah.
So this is new for me. Ice seems to be working really well. Yeah, it's ice. Yeah, so like that was the big thing that I kept reiterating was like, hey, we have to make content that's designed for the lane that it's supposed to be in.
Right.
And then the second big thing that was difficult for us.
This is the big bad.
Yeah, this is the final fight. We're at the end of the game.
You're almost dead.
I got energy tanks. I wonder if I can. This won't be enough to heal, but so close.
Do you have to be fully healed to shoot a Hadouken?
Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna fuck it. Let's do it. Why
Oh,
not?
you gonna Hadouken this guy?
I'm gonna try my best. We'll see what happens.
Oh, damn, he's got a lightsaber?
Ah, fuck. It's okay.
Oh, no.
I can't Hadouken the final boss. He's too difficult. So his hitbox is too small for what we need to do with it. So that's okay. We got a lot of Hadoukens in this run. Yeah, the second thing was the philosophy of what was to be on YouTube and Twitch,
Sure.
and what was to be on cable, and there wasn't consistent messaging.
Yeah.
And more importantly, depending on who was in charge at the time, everything from our marketing to our sales, like the sales team, amazing. The marketing team did their best.
Yeah.
But what would often happen is we'd pay outside agencies to tell us what our brand was. So you saw throughout the evolution of G4 in an 18-month time span,
Yeah.
3 agencies come in and rebrand everything we would do.
Yeah.
And when I got involved, the first thing I did is I said, I need real-time analytics on everything you guys do.
Yeah.
And I subsequently got a marketing company let go from us because I pointed out that I was able to do more marketing for God of Work than they could do for the thousands of dollars we paid them. Like I called you guys at Smosh and said, hey, we're doing the show God of Work. I would love to like come on and do like Try Not to Laugh or any of your guys' Smosh game stuff to promote the show.
Right.
And so I did. You guys gave that, and we were working together already at that point because
Yeah.
of the G4 relationship happening. Ah, damn it.
Oh.
And I gotta farm for health. This is why we ask for an extra time, because I am human and I make mistakes. But yeah, so I did that on my own, just going, I'm gonna call Ian and ask the team if we could do this.
Yeah.
It cost us $0 for us to work together.
Yep.
Because you're a homie and you understand how this works, and if you ever need anything from us, anything from me, like of course we're gonna show up and do more stuff together. And like the company responsible for the promotion for God of Work from a television and digital perspective didn't know how to market the show.
Yeah.
And so I was like, great, I'm marketing my own show now. And
Right.
so on if you look at God of Work on the G4 channels, they only got like 10,000 views, but you look at it on my channel, it has 250,000.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's because I called in all my friends and I like marketed to my audience, and
Yeah.
I relied on the content to speak for itself
Yeah.
without spending all this money. And that was the thing, is that money was being spent on irresponsible things all the time. No joke. So for Attack of the Show, we have this
Well, I think God of Work, like, I see God of Work as like one of those examples of something that should have been fan funded. Like,
Yeah.
like I think like it was too expensive to produce in the way that y'all made it, like in terms of like how much audience you were going to get from it
yeah.
anyway. But
Wait.
it's like a hyper niche kind of thing that like people would really like want to see.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's definitely one of those examples where it's like, you know, you look at something like Critical Role with like Vox Machina,
Yeah.
like they have a very solid core audience
Yeah.
that's able to raise like whatever it was, like $10 million for Vox Machina.
Yeah. But so it's funny you say that, Ted. Prepare to bleep a lot of this out because I don't want to get in trouble. But the thing is that an episode of X Play, Ian,
Yeah.
costs $1 episode a week.
Yeah.
Attack of the Show was like
Yeah, I believe it.
God of Work
Yeah.
cost to make.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Because we
yeah.
my goal was to be like, give me half of what you're spending here
Right.
to show you what we can make here.
Yeah.
And the goal was to show that we can make original content that's high quality, that is well thought out, well executed, and didn't cost anything. And so that was the thing that we tried really hard to emphasize was if you just spend the money correctly, it
Yeah.
will work.
Yeah.
And that was a thing that we had
You're working with like traditional media minded people where it's like, you know, we went on Attack of the Show
yeah.
and it's like, oh, this is a television production.
Yeah.
Like there's a full set.
Yeah.
So like the crew is massive. Like it's a television show.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's just like, yeah, it doesn't surprise me how much was being spent on that because yeah, you have to spend that kind of money to have that kind of production.
Yeah.
So that doesn't surprise me at all.
But we had, so what I was going to say is
the lizard okay though?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Gex got a home.
Gex got home.
Yeah. They that was the first thing people asked. Like, don't
Yeah.
worry. They got, so
He's still in there roaming.
yeah, so Gex would go home on the weekends with someone in the building.
Yeah.
So it was a weekend when they closed
good.
G4. So
Did anybody get a chance to go in there and like take anything?
But I did get something really cool that I can talk about.
Okay.
So when Xavier Woods, so people don't know this, but the executive that was involved to bridge the gap between the WWE and G4 is someone who used to work at the WWE and was like a really well-respected guy. And honestly, he's one of my favorite people to work with. He's an amazing gentleman. He helped Austin Creed a lot out in his early wrestling days. And so when Creed found out that he was working at G4, he was like, I want to be on G4 again. Thank you. It's over.
Yeah.
We did it, everyone. So this gentleman gave Creed advice on how to make his way in. And so Austin Creed made this whole campaign, Creed for G4.
Yep, I remember
and
that.
The
Yeah.
internet rallied behind him, and that's how he got the gig.
Yeah.
And what he would do on WWE television was he had G4 custom ring gear that he wore and would wrestle
Yeah.
to promote himself getting into G4 and being a part of it. And then he got the job, so
Yeah.
he didn't need the gear anymore. So he gifted the gear to G4 to have in the lobby. So when you came to G4, you saw a mannequin that had Xavier Woods' gear. It's got G4 all over it, New Day, video games, all this stuff. And so on my way out, as I was leaving, they were taking down the mannequin. And I turned around and I was like,
where's the gear?
where's the gear going? And they're like, it's going back to the WWE. And I thought about it, and the WWE has a show where they get antiques of wrestling gear and they showcase it.
Okay.
But the true nature that people don't know, wrestlers are independent contractors.
Right.
They pay for all their own gear.
Oh, okay.
So they were going to donate it back to the WWE.
I didn't know they paid for their own.
Yeah,
Even WWE, they it's like the Undertaker had to put his own wardrobe together.
I'm sure at that point, no, but like nowadays,
Okay.
like a new wrestler, like a
Got
Creed or
it.
whoever would have to do that.
Wow.
And so I called Creed and I was like, hey, what's happening to your outfit at the studio? And he's like, oh, it's probably going back to WWE headquarters, and then I'll have to fight tooth and nail to get it.
Yeah.
And I said, can I have it? And he was like, oh, absolutely you can. Take it.
Yeah.
It's already paid for. I owned it. It's yours.
Yeah.
And he was like, take it. And so I went to go grab it, and they were like, you can't. That's not yours. And I was like, hey, Creed, tell him. And he was like, it's Gerard's. Let him take it. And they were like, Creed? And he was like, yeah.
Yeah.
Gerard can have it.
Oh.
And so I had to like climb both the WWE and G4 ladder to be like, I'm taking this, please.
Yeah.
And they said yes. And so I have the outfit here in the office.
Nice.
I'm creating like a G4.
So he doesn't want it back?
He gifted it to me. He just I mean, I told him if you want it back, please, I'll give it to you. But
Yeah.
he can't wrestle with it. You know, it's
Right.
literally says G4 on it, and
Yeah. So who got the big controller?
that we don't know. That we don't know.
No.
The expense on that thing was stupid high, and it didn't even work.
It didn't work. I thought it was
it-
a fully functional controller.
It like worked when we made it work, but
Got
it wasn't the most functioning thing.
Yeah. No, I can't imagine it would be. That thing was huge.
Yeah, we had nowhere to put it either, just in the lobby for.
Yeah. No, it
once
was
we-
cool. It was a cool like statement
It
piece.
was definitely
Yeah.
exciting. Well, because do you know the lore of the controller and why it was made?
It was like to beat a record, right? For
Yeah,
the biggest controller.
Yeah, because G4 originally had the biggest record controller.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so they back in the day they had that, and then it got beaten, and so to launch G4 2.0, they were like, we're gonna get our record back, and so they did.
Yeah. And what's another $100,000?
Yeah, because you're
To
spending
G4.
Yeah, at that point, 10-year plan. Who cares?
Yeah.
That's 10 years problem. That's someone's problem 10 years from now.
Yeah.
Well, Ian, thanks for coming by, dude.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this weird.
I can't believe I just watched all of Mega Man. That's like honestly crazy.
Yeah. Well, Ted, what was our time? Like 110 minutes or hour and 10 minutes?
I don't know officially since you started, but we're at an hour and a half.
Hour and a half. This is my longest run. I made a lot of mistakes, but that's okay. I think it was we had some great conversations.
Yeah.
Had a good time. Ian, congrats, man, on buying Smosh back
Thank you.
and doing it again. That's so exciting.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to say before we get out of here?
No, we're creating Anthony and I are creating sketch comedy on the Smosh channel again. Just like old times. Very excited to be doing the sketch comedy with him again. And it's the usual stuff on our other channels. So it's a good year to be a Smosh fan. We eating good, folks.
Well, if you ever need my fat bearded ass for anything,
Please.
I'll show up and participate. I'd love to do. I honestly, this is what got me through COVID, was watching hours and hours of Try Not to Laugh.
Yeah?
That show is so funny,
Okay.
especially when you guys get guests. Whenever I'd see a guest that like was out of their element but understood what the
Yeah.
task was, it's always so funny seeing you guys try to make each other laugh. It's so fun.
You should come on then.
I'd love to. It'd be great.
Okay.
Awesome.
Great.
All right, guys. Well, this is another episode of How Famous is Gerard? I still hate. I can't get over that name, but
How famous is he?
not enough. Thank you for watching, everyone. Till next time, take it easy. Bye bye.